Hi guys, it's about 8:30 Eastern. It's about 7:30 Central on this Friday, August 10th, 2012. I'm Stephen Boyle. Welcome to my winter forecast number 3. Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at models, and then I got a ton of graphics. What this is going to do is this is going to combine my last fall forecast and then also my winter forecast, my new winter forecast that I have. And this time we're going to go quite in depth with my winter forecast here. So get ready. This will probably be about a 15-minute video. So if you want to, pause this for a minute, go grab a coffee, go grab a snack, go grab something and sit back and relax. I would do that if I were you. This is not going to be a short video. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at August first, and this is the temperature outlook, what we're going to look at first. Now, I know people are looking at these numbers down here and you're saying, what, only 1 to 2 degrees? I mean, that's nothing. Well, this is not I don't even know what it is. I looked up Kelvin. -4 Kelvin, there's no such thing as -4. It goes from 0 Kelvin all the way up to, I think it's like 400 Kelvin or something like that. It doesn't go negative. So this is something, another term, because this is definitely not Fahrenheit. I know it's not. It's a different temperature system. I think it combines Celsius and Fahrenheit or something like that, but it's definitely not Fahrenheit. I know that. Okay, so overall above average conditions here in through the Northeast, but cooler than what it was in July. Also, we're going to have some very warm weather this month across the West, and it's already been happening here. And it's already been happening here in the East as well. Overall, I think mid to end of the month here in here across the Northeast, I think things will start cooling itself down. And you can obviously see what a smaller area of warmth in the midsection of the country. I mean, a lot of relief will be coming through around here, so that is good news. Still cool in Alaska, but that's not going to last too long, because once we go into September, things are expected to warm itself up just a bit. Here in the country, here in the lower 48, what it's looking like at this particular point is this. I think the whole country for September should be about average overall. October, there's this blurt of warmth in the east. It's possible that that'll happen, especially if this area of cold up in here forms. But overall, I believe that October will be generally at average. I don't think it will be well above, nor do I think it will be well below. I think the fall will be about average. It won't be until we hit November. November is when things are going to really, really get themselves quite interesting here. A very cold pattern is going to shape itself up. We're going to get cold air coming down from Canada on into the east. We're going to also get a fairly persistent ridge back out into the western portions of the country. This is going to really heat things up. Alaska, southern Alaska at times will be cool. Northern Alaska will be warmer at times. This will create some pretty interesting weather here. And we are expecting to see a fairly cold November at this point. It could change. Okay, I want to just say it could change. We have to see how things will move. But I think overall at this particular point, I think things will be probably cooler than average in November. Checking out December, yes, there is this blurt of warmth in the southeast, but overall I think that that's probably just a little mishap that the models are having, because overall this pattern is going to continue. Look at how the cold air in Alaska is really starting to leave. So that really indicates to me that this is not only going, this is going to just only deepen. So I think this is a little model error or something, because overall, December, very cold in the east. Also, The west is going to start heating things up a little bit, I believe. So we'll have to see how things move on with that. January. Yeah, warm in Alaska, warm in the west. Really, what's going to be, what's the determinant factor here on whether the Central Plains will get this above average weather or not is really where the jet wants to set itself out. If it wants to set itself out something like this, then these regions will get cool. If it sets itself something like right in here, then yeah, we're gonna be looking at some pretty warm weather through this region. So we're gonna have to see how things. It's this area in here is gonna be a tricky area this winter for temperature and for snow, because the jet will be at times within this location. So it's going to be difficult to get that in a spot where it will stay. It'll be just like here in the Northeast last year. Remember, there were times when the jet would move just a tad to the north, and so would the storm move north, and then that would cause rain. We all know what happened. It was terrible last year. So now, checking out the precipitation. August looking fairly wet across much of the country, dry in the northwest. We're going to kind of move quickly here. September, possible in the northeast could get wet, also dry. It depends. You can sort of see this overwhelming dry conditions here, so it's possible that the northeast could be also dry in September. Well, we have to see how things go along. It's also possible that the whole east could be wet in September or next month. Look at October. We're going to really start wetting things up a bit. Going to start getting rid of this drought that we have in the central parts of the country. Looks like the west is going to continue to dry up a little bit, and it looks like the northeast will also be a little bit on the wet side. November. Look at this. We're looking at some really active storm pattern. So, if you remember, the temperatures for November are expected to be cold, plus this wetter than average precipitation. What does that mean? Well, at this point, it looks like we could be getting snow quite early here across the east in some regions. So we're going to have to look out for that. So it looks like early snows this year in some regions. Not as early as last year, but, probably sometime between early to mid-November. And also probably in the south, probably closer to northern regions of the south, where snow is possible at times, early to mid-December. Looks like a white Christmas for the east, if you ask me. I mean, this is really, this to me looks like white Christmas, definitely for many people in this region. So we'll have to watch out for that. Dry in the northwest, and then as we move through January, looks like the pattern will continue, although there's this little blurb of dry weather here in the north. I believe overall, I think we're still going to see that very active pattern continuing through the winter here. So that's what it's looking like. These are the models. Now I got my own little graphics here. So to sum things up a little bit here, autumn overall average. There's a possibility that the west could be a little bit above average, but we'll have to see. But overall, the country will be average this fall. Precipitation, wet. Wet on the east, dry in the northwest, very dry in the northwest. Some regions could get practically no rain at all. We'll have to see what happens with that. But overall, wet in the northeast, particularly coastal states, generally where the areas that are close to the very active storm pattern. All right, and then from there, let's talk a little about the winter temperature outlook. We're going to start getting into where people are going to start really want to focusing their attention here. Cold. I'm pretty confident about the temperatures here. The temperature outlook I'm very confident about, because it looks like the AO will be quite negative this year. It looks like we're going to have tons of cold shots of air coming in here into across the Northeast. Overall, I believe this region in here could be seeing record cold this year. Up in here, I believe we're going to start seeing some record warm this winter. It's going to be quite warm across the majority of the West. And this area that's in white here, okay, this area that's in white, it's where the jet is going to be. And this is the big favorability. This is the region where the jet will set itself out. And where exactly the jet sets up, well, that could make a big difference, because at times this cool air could move more to the west. At times this warm air could move a little more to the east. So overall, if you live in the Great Plains, you really are going to need to watch. It's really going to come down to exact forecast here on what you're going to really get. It's overall average. Alright, so here is the winter precipitation. This is really where people focus their attention here. And I'm going to try to go quick. We got like 5 more minutes here. So, overall, very snowy in the Northeast. I am very concerned here. There's possibility. I'm not going to say that definitely snow records will be broken, but it's if this pattern sets out, it's possible snow records could be broken. Overall, the South will be wet, depending upon your location in the South, either above average snow, particularly for Arkansas, Tennessee, and portions of Virginia, above average rain and winter precipitation, really where the battle zone is, what we would call the battle zone. This would be between North Carolina, South Carolina, northern half of Georgia, northern Alabama, northern Mississippi, even northern Louisiana, southern Arkansas, and portions of Texas. So essentially the Aclatex over to North Carolina will be the region where we have the battle zone this year. So possibly some ice storms in here. Now, depending upon where the track sets out, if we have a storm that moves itself like this and then up the coast like this, then yes, Oklahoma would be in that battle zone area, or maybe even snow area. But not all storms are going to move like this and then up the coast. Some are going to move more like this. Okay, so at times Oklahoma will be in this snow or precipitation. So I would say maybe Oklahoma, eastern Oklahoma, eastern Kansas, eastern Nebraska, eastern Texas will probably be the area where we get a little bit more precipitation. But the western ends of this region will probably be the areas where we get more below average conditions. Well below average for the Northwest. Probably a snow drought into this region. It's not going to be looking too pretty when it comes in terms of the precipitation up there. Alright, first last snow, I just want to focus on the Northeast. While I'm talking about the Northeast, check out your area, and when I put it in, if you have any questions, put it at the bottom. But overall, mid to late November is the first snow for the Northeast, and then early to mid-April will be the last snow here. And again, overall, it looks like the West will have a later than average first snow, and then earlier than average last snow. That's generally what it's looking like for the West. So we'll have to see what happens over the course of the next, over the course of the next month. I'll update that accordingly. White Christmas chances. This is also something that everybody loves, and this is my last graphic. Hopefully this will take only about a minute. Northeast, I am about 80% sure at this time, which is fairly high for it being this early, to see snow during December of 2012. I believe that the whole East has a very good shot at seeing snow this upcoming December. Very active storm pattern it's looking like. 50% chance in this region, a little bit less, because really what's going to be driving the main force for snow in this region will be overall, it will be the clipper systems that we get. Clipper systems from Alberta, Canada. They bring in very cold shots of very cold air, and then they bring in a brief 3 to 6 inches of snow for some regions. So that's what essentially it looks like. We will be getting most of our snow through the northern plains and the Midwest and the Great Lakes. Also, don't worry, it looks like the lake effect snow will be alright this year. Very low chance up in the Northwest for a white Christmas, since because of the fact that we have been seeing so little, the chances of seeing very little precipitation. So that's what it's looking like at this time. That's my new winter forecast. I hope everyone has a great day, great rest of your Friday. I have a ton of other forecasts I'm going to be putting out over the next hour or two. Hope you check those out, and I will put out my other winter forecast sometime in September. Take care, everyone.